The diagram below shows an 11 by 13 rectangle and a 11 by 21 rectangle attached to adjacent sides of an 11 by 11 square. Find the distance between the two farthest points in this figure. So, you can see here that they provided an example. So, here are the two furthest points away from each other. Using the fact that this is a square and this side is 11 and this side's 11, we can tell that the other two sides are 11 as well. So that's 11 and that's 11. Okay. So now that we know that, we can tell that this whole side on the left here is 24, and this whole side at the bottom here would be 32 because we added up the two numbers. 13 plus 11 is 24, and 11 plus 21 is 32, which means that this whole thing are those numbers respectively. So now that we figured out that, we can use a formula called the Pythagorean Theorem. So what this formula says is, if there is a right triangle, we can use both of the legs to find the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the longest side in the shape and is usually directly opposite from the right angle. You can see here that the right angle is this right here. We know it's a right angle because it's a part of this square or a rectangle, and they always have right angles. We know that this is the hypotenuse because it is the longest side and also is the opposite of the right angle. So now using the formula, which is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, we can find out what the hypotenuse is. In this case, A and B are the legs, the other sides of the triangle, while C is the hypotenuse, or the longest side of the triangle. So we already know what A and B is. They're 24 and 32. So we can substitute them in. 24 squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. And we know that b is 32, so 24 squared plus 32 squared is equal to c squared. And now we can solve this. So what's 24 squared? 24 squared is, let's see here, 24 times 24, 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 2 is 4, you get 6, carry the 1, 7, and 576. So here we got 5, 7, 6, plus, and then you can see here 32 squared, so let's figure out what 32 squared is. I'll write it down here. 32 multiplied by 32, that 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 2 is 6 again, and 3 times 3 is 9. When you add that up, you get 4, 12, carry the 1, and 1, 0. So we get 576 plus 1,024 is equal to c squared. And now if we add up those two numbers, we get that 1,024 plus 576 is equal to, let's just solve this real quick, 7 plus 3 is 10, carry the 1, is 1,600. And 1,600 is equal to c squared. However, we are solving for c, the length of the longest side, not c squared. So to get rid of this squared, what we want to do is to square root it. So the way to square root it is to just take a square root. Let's see here. Take a square root of 1600 and take a square root of c squared. So here on this side, let me just make this clearer actually. Okay, so on this side, you can see that the square root of 1600 is equal to basically 40. If you have trouble understanding how I got there that quickly, you can see that there is 16. This is just 16 multiplied by 100. And if you take a square root of both of these, you can get square root of 16 is 4. And square root of 100 is 10. So you can see I just did 4 times 10, which is 40. And doing that, we get that 40 is equal to the square root of c squared, which the square root and the square cancel out, which just gives me c is equal to 40. And that's the answer. Yeah.